Welcome to Late Night Riders. On this episode, we talk to Andrea Wise.
Talk about somebody that is just so authentic and such a good entrepreneur. She's a good person to listen to.
We talk a lot about balancing life and work. She has two children. She owns Horse Glam and Pony Glam, and she's riding at the same time. It's crazy. So enjoy. Welcome to Late Night Riders. I'm Gretchen, and I'm joined by my mom, Kristen, my grandma, Debbie, and Andrea.
Hi there.
Hi. Andrea, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with horses?
Sure. Gosh, it seems so long ago now. I actually can't remember it. I'm telling you a story that my mom has told me and that I've actually seen pictures of. But when I was little, I want to say around 5, I went to a local horse show to see one of my mom's really good friends ride and compete, and loved it. They sat me on the back of her huge horse at the time, and I have that picture somewhere, and I just got hooked, and they started giving me lessons at that actual facility that had the show. So started around 5.
So from there, did you start showing, and how did you get Chloe?
Oh gosh, well, Chloe was much later. So like I said, I started at 5, and I got my first pony, a little small pony, around 8, and really just started competing pretty soon around that time. And so I grew up doing the pony hunters on the double A circuit. And then when I got to high school, I got into high school things and kind of stopped riding and took a pretty big hiatus from, I want to say, 15 to after I got married. So my poor husband had no idea what he was getting into, because when I met him, horses weren't part of my life. And so I was married for about a year when I was like, listen, I used to do this thing, riding, and I really want to get back into it. And I took 3 lessons here in Charlotte and ended up buying Chloe like right around that time. So I've had Chloe since I was around 25, 26, and have had her for over 10 years now.
Oh, wow. So at what point did Horse Glam, actually it was Pony Glam first, right?
Yeah. So I had Chloe for about 3 years or so before I came up with the idea of Pony Glam, which is a colored hoof dressing.
Right.
And, you know, I was tacking Chloe up one day, and she had her like little purple polo wraps and a purple saddle pad, because at that time I was so into like putting color and everything, because when I grew up as a pony rider, it's so conservative back in those days that we never in color. And so Chloe had, her color was kind of purple, and I remember putting the clear hoof dressing on her, and she actually was like doing stuff to me, like nibbling my butt actually, and she had just being her diva self. And I remember thinking, this should be purple to match like the rest of the ensemble. And so I remember calling my husband from the barn, and I'm always calling with ideas. I'm like, I always have ideas, and he's always rolling his eyes at me, and he's like, you gotta like actually execute it, And I was like, fine, I'm gonna do it. And so I ended up making my own hoof dressing, figuring out how to do the colors, and so from there, Pony Glam was kind of born, and I have came up with 5 colors, and it was in show rings really pretty quickly.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's fun.
And then, so was Pony Glam also a blog at that point, or was it?
The website, I did have like a blog feature, and I always blogged through Chloe usually, because she's kind of my alter ego. I can be sassy and a little rude, and it was just fun, And so I did a few blogs, but I didn't really keep up with it because it really wasn't my primary thing for Pony Glam. But I definitely have like carried that over to now, Horse Glam, when I review horse related products or something that it makes sense for Chloe to blog about.
Yeah. So when did Horse Glam become your primary thing? And then how did that, because Instagram, like, you have a huge following, so how did you, like, was that a very quick thing, or was it more of a gradual following?
So when I had Pony Glam, I think towards the end I started Instagram for that. Like Facebook at the time was like the big thing when I started Pony Glam. So I really didn't even understand Instagram. But about 2.5 years ago, someone approached me about buying Pony Glam. And, it was a really bittersweet idea. But I felt like I had outgrown it at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And, but I was sad that I was leaving this industry that I just felt really
Right.
attached to. Like I had met so many other amazing women entrepreneurs and these
Mm-hmm.
small businesses that were
Mm-hmm.
just really inspiring, and like I said, the women were just amazing. So I was sad to leave that like kind of close knit community,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to think of a way that if I sold Pony Glam, how could I stay in the loop with these women and these brands? And I thought of Horse Glam. I thought of the equestrian lifestyle blog because at that time, in mainstream fashion, like that was a big thing. Like everybody and their brother was is an influencer, right? But at the time in the equestrian world, there really were only like two other influencers that I knew of. So I thought it was a great opportunity, and one, like I said, that I could stay in touch with these brands and help them, spread their message. Because as a, small business owner myself, I like felt like I truly understood their struggle, and felt like I could really represent them the way that I would want an ambassador or an influencer to represent Pony Glam. So Horse Glam was really just a way to like stay in the community, and it's been really fun. I've met so many amazing women and brands that they're just so passionate, and they really deserve to get their product out there, and it's hard, it's really hard to
That's
do.
amazing that you did that. I mean, to start the business and then turn around and say, yes, I will. I think I want to sell this, but stay connected. That's a big decision to make. So, how
And
many years?
it
Yeah.
actually didn't end up selling.
Okay, so it didn't. Okay.
Own Pony Glam, and what
Good.
happened was I was
Good.
like so in my head like with the Horse Glam stuff and getting excited, and then when they kind of backed out, last minute, I just was like, I can still do Horse Glam. And so I did. I've
Nice.
been doing it for 2 years. And Gretchen, to your earlier question, that's when I started Instagram, was like
Oh,
two and
Okay.
a half
wow.
years ago.
Okay.
So all those followers have like come in the last 2.5 years. I feel like pretty organically, which is why I think I have such a great follower base. They are really involved. They ask me a lot of questions. They follow along on like the products and just like my own personal journey. Um, but I still own Pony Glam, but I have
Okay.
since recently licensed it out to a bigger company. So
Wow. That is exciting, though. So, how long have you had the Pony
Pony
Glam?
Glam,
About how many
I
years?
should really know this answer off
That's
the top of
okay.
my head.
It's okay. I
I
mean,
want to
approximately.
say 6 years.
Oh wow.
So, I
Because
mean, for
I was working as an attorney in the law firm when I started developing that. Because I
wow,
remember like talking to them about it, and they're like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And I'm like,
wow,
trying to ship. I was shipping everything, making it
wow.
myself
Right, right,
back in
exactly.
my
Right.
condominium on the 25th floor of
Oh yeah.
Uptown
Wow.
Charlotte. Getting all these like ingredient packages and exploding things in my microwave. But
Oh
What
my
would you tell what would you
goodness.
tell people about, maybe considering starting their own business now that you've done it? Because
oh
we
god,
did too. We did that same thing. So, I mean, it's amazing to hear how people get started because it's a
yeah.
yeah.
You know, I love startups. In fact, like one of the things I love about Horse Glam is all the startups that I work with,
Mm.
and they'll actually, a lot of brands have like called me, and we will talk for like 3 hours about, you know, because I come with like a different background. I have the creative background. I've done the Pony Glam thing, so I know how it works. But I'm also an attorney, so I have like that
Mm.
other background. And so it's almost like I have this 2-hour consulting session with them about everything from labels or trademarking or just negotiating their vendor contracts out. So it is a lot of fun. So I love working with them. But I would say that I guess my biggest tip would be to not be afraid of asking people for advice, because it's amazing like how many contacts that you have that you don't know of that like know someone in this industry that can help you get cheaper prices for this, or they know like someone who has an inn in this like huge tack store that can give you your first break or something. So I wouldn't be afraid to ask for help, because so many of us are such great resources.
Can I just ask you too, with your background of being an attorney and being in business, with people who don't have that background, is there anything that you would suggest that they would do or seek out an attorney's help, do you feel, on certain places? Or, can a person just start and go, do you feel? Or do you have any feelings about that, being that you have
Um,
that
I
background?
mean, I would eventually make my company into an LLC, and I don't we don't necessarily need an attorney for that, but it would be good to
Mm-hmm.
consult one. I mean, a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
you can do yourself, and I think
Mm-hmm.
people are surprised to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like for me to form an LLC, it takes like under an hour. So you
Wow.
want to be aware of that, because you don't want to get charged,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
a lot to do that by
Mm-hmm.
an attorney, because it really doesn't take that much time.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just be really careful about like spreading, like sharing my ideas
Mm-hmm.
with
Mhm.
people, and
Mm-hmm.
over email and stuff. I would
Mm-hmm.
try to get non-disclosure agreements, because some people have really great
Yes.
ideas, and
Yeah.
Yes.
all it takes is for
Good
someone
advice.
else to hear it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So that would be some advice.
We've had that happen as well too, so we understand, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
right. Yeah, I'm
advice.
sure you guys
Sure.
really understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you have a great balance of what you do in your life. So how do you actually make it all work?
Come
As you're
together.
speaking, yeah, as you're speaking about it, I mean, you're
How do
talking
you do
about
it
all
all?
of these things that you're doing, but you still have time to do the things that you want to do. It seems like too.
Oh gosh, I think I'm really good at fooling people
Oh
to
no,
think that I'm
no.
doing all these all these great things. Um, you know, I so okay. Let me back up. I've spent a lot of the last couple of years depressed about the fact that my writing like isn't at the level that it was before I had my first child, Tanner, who's now 5. And I think we've talked,
Yeah.
Gretchen and Debbie and I had talked about this.
Mhm.
And I just got into such a funk about it, because it is depressing when I think about like what I used to do and like what I can't do now, because it's like I know what it's supposed to look like. I know what I'm supposed to do, but my body just can't do it, and my mind has these blocks of being scared, or like what if I fail. I'm very bad about that. I don't like failure, so I tend to not do things so that I don't fail at it, which is a
Ah.
horrible trait. But anyway, I think that over the summer, I decided I was sick of like having these conversations with people, and I think they were sick of hearing them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just decided that I was going to do it. That I was going to be selfish for a little bit and put myself first, and really try to, instead of going to the grocery store and Target for that day, I was going to go to the barn. And
Mm-hmm.
like if I didn't clean my house, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
clean. Like
Mhm.
whatever. If we had to order food, we ordered food. So we ordered food for a while,
Mhm.
so that so that I could go to the barn and ride. And what really helped me was that I said out loud that I was going to a show, a Trine International in October.
Mm.
And so that made me, because I put it out there
Right.
and
Yep.
everyone
Yep.
knew,
Yeah.
I knew that for me, and I think I did a blog for you guys
Yeah.
recently, for me to go to that show and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it and not be puking the whole
Aw.
time,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to be prepared. And
Yeah.
that meant I had to go to the barn and ride in the rain if I had to ride in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really did. From like July to October,
Mm-hmm.
I went as much as I could. Was really selfish, but at the end of the day, like I was
But
happier
look
because
what
I
you
was
did.
Yeah.
Right.
meeting goals.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And my family was happier, I think, because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't,
Mhm.
whatever, moody, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. And
I love your
and
transparency with it.
it
Yeah.
really, it was great. I had a great experience at the show, and now I kind of like just made that first step. So it's like a little easier to, stay in that. I'm not like gonna try to go to the barn like every waking moment like I was doing a couple weeks, months ago, but I have like a good balance of, I'm still gonna like make a commitment to go this many days, weather permitting or whatever, and not feel guilty for
Yeah.
making stuff about
Right.
me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky because my husband Zach is awesome and he does really support it. And he kind of has his own thing. He does like road biking and some
Right.
races and stuff. And so I have my horse thing. So I feel like we're supportive of each other, which helps. It also helps to kind of be like, well, you had this race this weekend, so now it's my turn. That helps a little.
To
But
share in that, yeah.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I guess I just made the commitment, took the first step to do it, tried not to feel guilty about it, and it's been great.
I think those are, excuse me, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think those are such reasonable and transparent, expressions of what we go through. And I'm so glad to hear you just talk openly about that, because I think there are so many people that want to have a career or start a business. They're into their horses and they love it, but it's hard to juggle. Some people can do it more than others, and sometimes just because of having children or things in your life, it makes a big difference with what how you can go see your horses. I mean, it takes a big chunk of time away when you have to do the things you have to do with children and yourself. And there is a difference as you go on in life. Your body does change to a degree, but you can, like you said, if you decide to make that time when you can and you do it, you can do it. But it is one of those things.
Social
you feel
media
guilty,
makes it look like everything's a breeze and everything is so
Right.
easy, and they don't
Right.
see like all of the
Right.
hard things that go into it. They just see the finished
Everybody
product
sees
or
that picture
the
of
photo
right.
of you with the horse and it's so beautiful, but
Right.
they didn't see the horse smacking you in the head 2 seconds
Yeah.
ago.
No.
Right, I know,
No.
right? Well, and I love that. I think, like I said, I get so many messages. I mean, even actually just right before I got on here, someone emailed me about how they're, feel depressed because after they've had kids, they haven't
Right.
been able to ride
Exactly.
and they miss it.
Yeah.
And they were like, you seem like you have it figured out. And I was like, I really don't though, I really try to be transparent on my Instagram account, and talk about that. And I think, my followers really like that because it makes them feel like what they're going through is normal, because it is like, Debbie, like mom guilt is like a real thing.
Oh
a
yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
And I just always try to be real, because Shannon takes great pictures, right? And like you look at my account and they're beautiful pictures, but like I never look like that normally.
She's so sweet.
And
She's
so
so
on my
so
Instagram
cute.
stories,
I love
I
it.
rarely
It's
have
perfect.
makeup on.
Yeah.
And I like that because people don't, like, people see the real me. And I try to like
Yes.
complain about my kids and everything that I would
Authenticity.
to my
Right.
friends, because it's real
Authenticity.
life.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think people like ultimately are feel relatable to that at the end of the day.
And I think it's so good to just put it out there. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, even like us with our company, we get so busy with things. At the end of the day, you're tired. You've had a lot that you've had to handle, and it's an awfully lot, to try to take care of and do. So it's good for other people to hear it, because I think in this world, like you said, the social media platforms make it so that everything looks this way.
Yeah.
But boy, there's a lot. And I think I'll just say this for women, in the way that, if you're trying to run your business and you have children, you have your responsibilities for your home, it's so important. There is a lot to do, even with fathers too. I'm not saying it's just the women, but women, if they're primarily the caregivers or whatever, sometimes they're not, but when they are, it's a lot to do. And you have to do what comes first, your priorities. But being able to find the balance, you've done it, even though maybe you say you haven't done it well, you have.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, there's definitely people that do it way better than me. Like, I just wanted to make a point that I don't think people realize, like, a lot of these small brands that I work with, like, these brands are not their job. Like, they have other job, like day jobs, and so they come
Sure.
home from like working in an office or, you know, wherever, and then they come home and do
Yeah.
these little equestrian businesses that we all like follow and love. And so those women, I don't know how they, I mean, they do their job, then they do their other business, then they do their family life, and then they ride. You know, I don't know. I feel like people don't know that a lot about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some of these small brands that are
Yeah.
like on my Instagram account, for instance.
Yeah.
So
So here's to
something
them.
exciting happened this summer. Your kids actually wanted to go out and be with the horses and ride.
I know.
Yay!
Yeah, you know, my kids love the idea of horses. They really do. They talk about Chloe and hamster now,
Hamster.
you know, at nauseum. But when they get to the barn, they're not into it. They're scared. But yes, Gretchen, they did. They got to ride a pony for the first time, and I think just the difference in size was like they weren't as scared. You know, because
Yeah.
for a little kid, Chloe and horses are, you know, towering, and you know the horses don't, they're all like trying to, you know, smell the kids, and Logan's screaming and crying, and you know, running out of the barn.
Real life.
But so they first, like, this summer was the first time they were around a pony, little Chase, and then there was the little minis too, and they loved it. They just loved it, and Logan said she was going to be a horse rider
Oh,
when she grew up. So I'm trying to, hopefully she'll do lead line in the spring.
there you
If I
go.
can get her on Chloe, that would be great, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Aw, lead line so
If you want to
cute.
see the photos from that, they are on our blog, yourhorsefarm.com. If you didn't know, Andrea blogs for us, and so she has her weekends at Tryon and a bunch of great articles on our blog.
Thank you.
So
Yes,
good to
thank
read.
you.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll enter our next segment, Kantor Banter.
Do you love horses and live the equestrian lifestyle? Be sure to check out our brand new blog at www.yourhorsefarm.com. We publish 3 posts per week and feature a free printable equine checklist every month. Yourhorsefarm.com is a great equine online resource, so be sure to share with all the horse lovers in your life. And remember, laugh much and ride often. Our next segment, Kantor Banter, is brought to you by Ramm Horse Fencing and Stalls, the one-stop shop for your horse farm. Ramm is family-owned and operated and has been in business for over 30 years. We welcome you to call in and speak with an expert about your next project today at 866-653-8984. Again, that's 866-653-8984.
And we're back. On this segment of Kantor Banter, Andrea is going to share Chloe's first horse show experience.
Oh gosh. Okay, so this was like right after I got Chloe. I had like just moved her to the new barn that she was going to receive training at, because when I got her, I realized that she was probably drugged when I tried her. So I needed to move her to a barn that had a so-called like horse whisperer. So she's been at the horse whisperer barn for a month. Well, actually, let me back up. The horse whisperer's barn, AC Jones is her name. There were white cows all along the fence line of the arena. And when I say all along the fence line, I mean if you were on horseback and you wanted to reach down and pet said cow, you could have. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Chloe, whoa, she was not a fan of this, and she remained not a fan of this for the 5 years that she was at the facility.
Oh, no.
But anyway, she just lost. I mean, she just couldn't even take it. And there was one day where one of the cows took their tongue and put it inside its nose. Lost her mind.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so she had been at this new barn for a month, so still hated cows, white cows. Let me just, I gotta make that part clear. So AC had talked me into going to a horse show, and I was like, why am I going to a horse show? I can't even sit on this horse. But I was at a horse show a month later, and you know, we had done our 2 jumping classes, and I don't even know what happened. I mean, Chloe went so fast through the whole thing that like it was like a blur, but it was fine. I think we like actually like won the class. But then for like the hunters, you usually do 2 over fences, and then you come back in and you do the under saddle class, which is just walk, trot, canter, both directions, done. So I'm walking in to this under saddle class, and like over the hill comes this herd of
Oh
cows.
no. Oh no.
And I'm like, everyone's walking around waiting for the whole class to get into the arena, so you're not being judged yet. And I mean, you can. She's just like locked on these cows, and they're black cows, of course, not white cows, which we have sort of,
She's locked on the black
gotten
cows.
used to. And I'm just like in my head thinking, this is it. This is when I die. Great. and like. The weirdest thing is they were like all walking single file, you know, just like you hear about. And these dumb fat cows walking single file. And I'm thinking, okay, it'll be fine. You know, I'm trying to like be positive.
Can do it.
And I don't even know how to describe this other than just say what happened. Somehow there was a pond right there, like that you really didn't notice it until you noticed it. And those freaking cows, one by one, submerged themselves in the pond. And literally, I could have thrown my crop into the pond.
No.
That's how far it was from like the show ring. Yeah, so
no.
I like that was it for me. I mean, she just lost it. And it just, so I pretty much like spooked the entire, show ring, the people, because one horse is spooked, the rest of them
Did they all just go, did the class come together, or did it just not come together for a bit?
Like, we completed it. I'm
Good
still
job.
here, obviously.
Good job.
And she actually was reserve champion for that actual division, so if those cows wouldn't have shown up, I might have been champion at Chloe's first show. But, at least I have the cow story, the submersion into the pond is just one image and sound. It made such a bizarre sound, too, but I'll never forget, because I just remember thinking, where am I that this is like happening right now? I know it's just a little local.
I would have been
backyard
mortified
show,
to see the cows coming. My heart would have just like skipped beats and then gone like crazy.
You could feel her heart. Like she was legitimately like.
She hated cows.
Bless your heart. You did a good job.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God. Well, Chloe, I mean, she's turning 20 this year. And she still spooks every time I get on her. So she's something else. I have a ton of Chloe spooking stories, but the cow image, is really just ingrained in my head.
That's incredible.
And hers too, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Cute. Well, thank you so much for taking time to podcast with us and, being so authentic with us too.
Yes, thank you.
I really appreciate that and appreciate you saying that, because I really strive to do that. So
you'll have to come back again.
We will have to have you
come back again.
Are
Thank
you kidding?
you.
I love hearing myself talk. This is
we love hearing you talk. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast and encourage you to share with all your equestrian family and friends. You can tune into the Late Night Riders podcast show every Friday night.